I am the stone that the builder refused. I am the visual, the inspiration that made ladies sing the blues. I'm the spark that makes your idea bright. The same spark that lights the dark so that you can know your left from your right. I am the ballad in your box, the bullet in the gun, the inner glow that let you know to call your brother son. The story that just begun, the promise of what's to come. And I'ma remain a soldier till the war is won. Chop, chop, chop. Go flip. Chop, chop, chop. Go flip. Chop, chop, chop. Go flip. Chop, chop, chop.
Welcome to the Immaculate Negro podcast, episode 10. And as you can see from the title, this is the continuation of the earlier episode, To Be Black, Part 2. So I'm just going to dive right into it as always. Now, I don't want this To Be Black series to extend past this Part 2. Like, I want this to be the end of, I guess, just a summary of my thoughts on this topic. So I'm going to discuss middle school as one entity, so it's grades 6 through 8. That's one thing right there, right? That's just how I'm going to talk about it. So middle school. So after, I guess, coming to more of an understanding about the reality of life in grade 5, we all went through to grade 6, and for the most part, the friend group stayed the same. You know how it is. We all kind of split up and went to 2 different middle schools, but it was whatever. In middle school, it was all about getting girls, in all honesty. That's when everybody was, I guess, growing up, going through puberty, all that shit. And now it's like, all right, try to get a girlfriend, talk to as many girls as you can, blah, blah, blah. All those things that I guess don't really matter once again. In middle school was just things just getting more and more and more real. It's just really like a level up from elementary. So at this point in middle school, it's not an accident the way people behave. Like, we're not at elementary school anymore, so you're more coherent. You understand more what your actions are and the consequences of those actions. So me being the same old good kid, just go to class, try to do well, do my thing, stay low, hang out with your friends and just keep trying to come up. So the one thing I guess middle school introduced me to was another level of blackness, in a sense. What I saw in middle school were kids who were really, really, really from the hood. That was when I really met dudes. I was friends with dudes who were authentically from the hood. And they were only where I was because their parents would obviously try to remove them from that hood environment in hopes of giving them more opportunities in life. So the thing that I always thought about when it was these hood kids is that they were bad as shit, man. Like they were really just bad as shit. And it was middle school, so everybody, you still kind of had some fear. So they weren't too bad. It was just, I guess, trying to find the balance. The thing I thought about with hood kids, like dudes who were really, really hood, is that there was just a threshold that they would get to where they would absolutely just stop giving a fuck. Like, oh my God, like some people just have those points, and maybe, I guess it's different for everybody, right? I guess some people don't even have this point, but hood dudes, they have, I guess, a fuse. And it's such a legitimate fuse because everybody knew. It's like, it's just some guys in the school, even some girls, honestly, like you can't really play with them too much because it could accidentally get to a point. Suddenly he's trying to fight you for his life. Suddenly you're in some crazy altercation you didn't mean to be in. Suddenly it's just so goddamn real, just because they're always ready to take it there. So that was a whole crazy realization in itself. That's when dudes were fighting more and more. It was more commonplace to, I guess, have beef with somebody and be like, all right, yo, let's just take it to the bathroom. Then you take it to the bathroom while you're in between periods, and you fight it out with dude for like quick 5 minutes. Y'all fight, walk out the bathroom, everybody goes to class like nothing happened. But you just fought this dude, and suddenly it's like nothing happened. And I don't know, that was so interesting to me, honestly, because I was a part of the bullshit. I was so caught up in it. So every so often I'll be fighting dudes, whatever, and I don't know, it's just really what it is. Like, I guess middle school is where you really get swept up in it, is where it begins to kind of catch you a bit. You begin to really become a part of it. But at this point, I still knew my place, quote unquote, because you can't try to do too much. I'm gonna say that again, that's always my thing. As bad as I ever tried or wanted to be, I knew no matter what I do here, you're not about to call my parents. It's never gonna get that deep, right? That's always the threshold for me. That's what I straighten up if whatever we're doing gets us to that point where it's like, all right, we're about to be in real trouble. I'm like, you know what? It's not that deep for me. I'm really not in it. I'm out. That's it. So middle school was when we first had our, I guess it was like a gang experience. And if you were at Patuxent Valley Middle School when I was there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Shout out to the twins, not gonna name drop. But then so these two twins, they made gangs, and it was kind of lit, right? We were all friends. It was all like jokes. It was all fun. But then suddenly I jumped on one dude's team. So it was like, yeah, gang, whoop-de-whoop, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't like legitimate. It was just some school shit. Now we're all just fighting in the hallways. Like it was some fake gang war. And when you really think about it, I'm like, that's really such a wild thing to do as a joke in school. You create mini gangs, and now you fight the other gangs that you also created. It was something that honestly didn't really make sense, I guess. We were really just having fun with it, really. We just had the gangs, and then dudes were just fighting at every opportunity that wouldn't get you in too much trouble. So we would get off the bus, walking into class, there's a fight circle, and it was like a moving fight circle. That was the dopest thing I've ever seen. There's like a huge mob of kids all walking off the bus, walking through the front doors, trying to get to school, right? So while we're walking outside from the bus to the front doors, there's like a fight circle, and everybody knows what a fight circle is. It's like a circle, and dudes are fighting in the middle, and like everybody just stands and watches for this nice little circle. This one, it was in motion. Like we all just agreed to what was happening here, because we kind of did, right? It was some gang shit. So these two kids were in the middle fighting. And one dude was walking backwards while throwing punches forward, and like we were all moving with the circle. So it was a crazy fight circle. Then we were just watching. Two dudes were fighting. Obviously, everybody from like both gangs were kind of there. So we were all just watching. And these dudes fought all the way to the doors and then stopped fighting. Then we went inside. And I was like, wow, that was that was such a wild thing to see. So yeah, middle school is really where I was introduced to another level of blackness, that hood blackness, right? That almost extreme blackness. And that's that shit my parents tried to keep me away from and tried to steer me clear of entirely, so it was something. And the other thing about middle school, or school in general, was that it's a cycle of experiences that humble you. And when I say that, I mean everybody starts out kindergarten, you go to grade 1, bang, go to grade 5, right? Unless you're in a school that is just K through 12, there's a point where you're the top dog, quote unquote, walking around the school, right? So this was in grade 5, you're the oldest kids walking around the school. So you're kind of running shit. Then bang, you go to middle school, now you're in grade 6. You're humbled once again because there's grade 8s walking around. So it's like, damn, I was just the top dog, now I'm back at the bottom. So it's humbling. Then you go through middle school, you grow up a little bit, blah, 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 get to grade 8. Once again, yo, I'm the top dog, we running shit. This is our school right now. Then bang, You get to grade 9. It's like, I'm really starting from the bottom again, man. And so high school is really, well, I guess at the time, it was really as real as it gets, man, because it's just wild. And it's the same people, some of the same people you had in your middle school, they're still here in your high school. Some people are gone. But that middle to high school period, honestly, from grade 6 through 12, that's where you start seeing people compromising their integrity for the sake of fitting in. That's where you start seeing people change who they are, what they stand for, what they believe in for the sake of fitting in, for the sake of having a group, for the sake of having, I guess, friends. And it was always so wild to me to see people doing that and just really trying so hard to be something they weren't. And I always appreciate the friends I had around me, the friends I hung out with, because we were never on that. As bad as I may have tried to be, or whenever I was too caught up in it and I tried to do something that was so outlandish, I had my homie next to me that was like, Denzel, chill. you know that's not you. Why you trying to be on that? Like, you gotta chill. And I used to always think he was killing my vibe, but I used to always listen to him because he was always right. I would always try to do some crazy next shit. And it wasn't so much I was trying to like fit in. I was just trying to, I guess, prove to myself that I was about it. And that's really what you get caught up in. You get caught up trying to prove some shit, whether it's to yourself or to other people. So I was, I guess, the former, trying to prove shit to myself always, because I always knew, okay, yeah, not the baddest kid, not this. I'm not anything to the extreme, to the most, but what I am is this right here, or whatever I thought it was, and I can do this. So it's so easy to see how young black kids really get caught up in blackness, how it really sweeps you away before you even realize what's happening, man. Because at this point in high school, I was sagging like crazy. It made no sense. Literally sagging my ass off. And I don't even know why. I thought it was just a look. Actually, no, I do know why. So here was the rationale to sagging at the time. Here was my rationale anyway. And I honestly think this holds true for a lot of dudes. So obviously, right? Parents are like super wealthy. So it's not like you can go and just buy everything you want whenever you want it, you know? So this is part of like being humble, I guess, right? It's part of most people's come ups. But me, I was always quite fortunate. Like, I didn't obviously get everything I wanted, but most things I wanted, I pretty much got. But when it came to denim, I never really, I know, right? It's weird to talk about denim, but like sagging is quite a big thing. When it came to denim, I was just like, all right, like whatever, my jeans fit. I don't gotta sag too hard. But then there was one pair of jeans I'll never forget. I liked the jeans, but they didn't fit, man. Like, they did not fit. But I was like, by any means necessary, I'm gonna rock these jeans. So this is the one time I sagged so goddamn hard, it didn't make no sense. Because the jeans were too short. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna wear it. So I put the jeans on, put the belt, and these jeans were literally hanging off my ass, and I just had the belt tight. I was like, yeah. And I thought I was really killing the game. And like, cause niggas around here were really sagging like that. Like, I was just, like, that depth of sag was probably the deepest I'd ever seen on myself or anybody else. So like, I was fully caught up in it. And it was so funny because my same best friend at the time, he saw me. He was like, Denzel, what the fuck are you doing? He was like, your pants are literally off, bro. And like, at the time, it was funny, but I didn't pull my pants up. I was like, nah, this is how I have to wear these jeans to achieve the look I wanted to have, right? And you didn't much care for what people thought of you sagging. That's part of having that thick skin. That's part of that blackness. You're literally taught to not give a fuck what people think of you or what anybody really, really has to say. So once again, real caught up in it. So this is high school, right? So once again, you see all the levels to it. You see same dudes who were removed from the hood, but just to speak on that, the problem with that is when their parents would move them out of the hood, it was kind of already too late. Like that person was already hood. So when you would move, so when all these kids, all these communities in the hood would move out of the hood and go to like the suburbs, all that good stuff where all the good schools are, quote unquote, or better opportunities are, the hood kids would just bring the bullshit with them. So progressively, all these suburban areas would just get worse and worse and worse because they would just bring the bullshit they tried to escape from, right? Because when you're in it, you don't know your parents are trying to move you out of it. Just because you move locations, you're still on that same bullshit in your mind. It's just like, nah, I'm still that same dude from whatever block, whatever street, whatever turf that I grew up in. I'm still that same dude. I'm just here now. So you take that with you and you just continue to exude that attitude and that demeanor. And it just kind of starts to infect the community around you, those around you. And it was honestly something to see. So around this same time in high school, you really see everything, right? Because people are held back, people have kids, people are truly about that gang violence, dudes were getting stabbed. Like, you really saw it all and you would just be like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it was always something to behold. And at the same time, it was almost something to admire. It was weird, right? This is the psychosis of it all, because you would see kids living reckless, living wild, living bad, but once again, these are the cool kids. These are the kids that get the prettiest girls. These are the kids that were the best athletes. These are the kids that just seem like they just lived the best life, enjoyed themselves, and just didn't give a fuck. So because of that, other people who really, it wasn't their vibe, they would try to make that their vibe. And I stayed consistent in my balance, because you can never go too far, you know? And I definitely tried to a few times, but luckily I had good friends around me that kept me in check. That was like, yo, man, you don't have to even do XYZ. Like, you don't need to even try this or that. Like, just stay chill, you know? So it was always good, because I would always try to be a little wild boy. But my one homie, who was a black dude, by the way, obviously, he was always the one calming me down and keeping me out of trouble and telling me, nah, don't do this. And I always used to think he was just a little bitch, honestly. I used to think he was just kind of scared of it all. But I was easily convinced, and that's how you know my heart wasn't really, really in it, you know, because you could really just talk me out of some bullshit. And honestly, I guess that's a good thing. But not everybody was like that, man. I'll never forget this one dude I knew that he really ruined his own life for the sake of fitting in. And always think about that. Always think about dudes that are in jail now to this day, or that are dead now, rest in peace, or that just went through so much bullshit that they almost didn't have to go through. And it's just fucked up how we were all striving to reach this certain degree of blackness that equated with being cool and getting girls and being bad and doing all this wrong shit, but that's what it meant to be black. It was really crazy, because through these experiences, if nobody tells you better, if you don't know any better, if you don't have good friends or good guidance, then this is what blackness means to you. That is the totality of what it means to be black for you. And it's fucked up. It's sad that people don't have what I like to call a privilege of perspective, because the way you see things that keep you grounded, that allow you to always make the right decision, regardless of whatever else is happening, always make the right decision for yourself. That is a privilege, because some people don't even have that perspective. And how could they, when they've never known better, never seen better, never been taught better? How can their perspective be better? It's literally impossible. So now I'm halfway through high school at this point, seen it all. Everybody having sex, drugs, violence, gang. Like, it wasn't like, it didn't surround me, but I caught glimpses of the nonsense, and it was crazy. So I'll never forget the one time I actually got jammed up by the police. One time it's ever happened to me, and this how like, kids, we were actually dumb as shit, man, because your parents always try to tell you. Like, my parents they obviously always knew better. They always tried to tell me what it really meant to be black, and how you can't just do these things out here and think you're gonna get away with it, or you almost can't just move in peace and think nothing of it. You have to always be on your guard. You have to always be ready. You have to always have your head on a swivel, because you are black. And that's really all it was. So I was out one night with my homies, and we were trying to make night moves, blah, blah, blah. And we were just chilling in my friend's neighborhood, and there was like a bunch of us. It was like maybe like 10 of us, and we were just chilling, not doing anything too crazy. And like I said, it was their neighborhood. The people I was chilling with, they lived there. So because we were outside, and some people were drinking, doing whatever, we were outside, but we were in our neighborhood, like I said, so it shouldn't have been that deep. People in the neighborhood started calling the police on us, and every time the police would show up, actually, no, the first time the police showed up, they pulled up on us, and they were like, "Oh, what are you up to?" Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, "Yo, nothing. We're just chilling here, vibing out." Like, "Oh, it's late. Get home, blah, blah, blah." Like, all right, whatever. But like, this is the neighborhood. Where we want me to go to? So, whatever. Police came twice, and the dude I came through with, he was like, he was an actual hood dude, and we were friends because when me and him started being friends, he wasn't really on that hood shit anymore. He was kind of realizing that wasn't the way. So he was moving on from that hood shit. And I'm not on that hood shit, so we could vibe, right? But he still kind of had a bit of that mentality. But he was a good guy, man. To his heart, he was a good guy. So me and him were out there with the rest of the people. So I came with him, so that's who we came with. And so the police put up the second time. He was like, "Yo, let's walk this way." So we start kind of separating ourselves from the group a bit. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, I'm with you. Police creeped up, said some more bullshit, and they drove off. I'm like, all right, cool, we in the clear. Then police came through again, right? Because we didn't scatter. Like, it's our neighborhood. Police came through again. At this point, we started scattering, started running, da-da-da-da-da. And so we'd run, meet back up, run through the woods, meet back up, da-da-da. And then so we're walking. Me and him are walking. And I'll literally never forget this day. Police bend the corner, right? And I'm like, shit, about to take off into the woods. And then my homie, right, once again, he's an actual hood nigga. So in his mind, we were really not doing anything. And we really weren't doing anything illegal. We weren't breaking into houses, doing nothing wild. We were just outside at night, right? So he was like, "Man, fuck that. I'm tired of running. We're not running, da-da-da." I was like, all right, I guess we're not running, right? First dumb move, right? Some dumb nigga shit. I was like, all right, we're not running. So we stay there. Police gets us. She's all like, oh, we getting called back and forth, da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, yo, we not doing nothing, da-da-da-da-da. So she starts trying to detain niggas. And at this point, I'm ready to scatter. But my homie, he's unfazed. He's like, yo, I'm not going to jail, so whatever. But that's how you know there's levels. Because in his mind, it's like, oh, I'm not going to jail, so whatever. But in my mind, I'm like, yo, if police deliver me to my parents, I would rather have gone to jail because I'm not ready for that L. I'm really not, right? So, long story short, we got jammed up. Parents came through, had to scoop me. And like, they were mad, but then I told my mom the situation. I was like, Mom, I didn't do anything. Like, all this happened, but they just kept calling the police because we were outside. And my mom, she was like, why didn't you run? I was like, what? I just told you I really didn't do anything. And then she looked at me and she was like, I thought you were smarter than that. She was like, do you know how many innocent black men are in jail that didn't do anything? And I was like, fuck me, man, because I did know that. I did know that. I knew better. But I was still out here, and my head wasn't on a swivel. And in that moment, I forgot that I was black. In that moment, I forgot that I can't just walk away here. I can't just act like I didn't do anything. I can't just be innocent. You know? Because when you're black, it's different. It's really different. You're always guilty until you're proven innocent. And that was a fucked up moment, fucked up realization. It was a lot, man. And shout out to my homie that I was with that day. He's no longer with us. Rest in peace to my boy Jesse, man. I think about you a lot, bro. I wish one day I could see you again, man. Sincerely, I do. It sucks that could never happen because you were a good dude. So at this point, living in America, I had literally experienced everything that I thought defined my blackness. I had experienced all the things that at that time are what I thought it meant to be black. And it's only when I left that environment that I could look back and see how fucked up it really was, how distorted the image we had of ourselves really is. And that was also such a crazy moment for me, a moment of self-realization, a moment of unlearning and relearning what I thought I knew. And that moment I'm speaking of is when we moved for the last time to Canada, right? Moved to Canada. I was like, why the fuck are we going to Canada? What the hell is in Canada? My perception of Canada, shout out to the American educational system, was literally nothing. In America, they teach you nothing about Canada. And I always tell all my homies in Canada that I'm like, yo, school in America, you see the map, right? When you're learning geography, you see the map. All the states, different colors, all the continents, different colors. But then Canada, it's just one big gray. Just one huge gray. You don't learn about the provinces. You don't learn about the prime minister. You don't learn about anything, right? So I'm going in blind. I was thinking, we're about to go to Canada. There's going to be snow everywhere. There's going to be moose diving into the street. It's about to be negative 1,000 degrees. Clearly, life is shit. I hate it. Get to Canada. This shit is dope, man. There's obviously there's civilization here. That was my first thing. I crossed the border and I was like, oh my God, civilization. It's not cabins and moose and fur and igloos. I was like, okay, we can rock. There's buildings and infrastructure. So, bam, go to Canada. And then I really didn't realize how a part of the bullshit I was till I went to school in Canada. And I was trying to talk to people, and the slang that I would speak was incomprehensible. People couldn't understand me. And I'm like, what the fuck? Isn't this how everybody talks? Or like the way I'm acting, kind of standoffish, aggressive, ready to fight, like just ready to hold it down. Isn't this the way everybody is? And that's when it hit me. I'm like, yo, I was really in a fucking bubble. Here I am in the DMV area thinking this small portion of culture and existence is representative of everything. I really thought that was everything. Don't know why. I guess it's just a product of a lack of worldly experiences. You think your small piece of the earth or the world that you occupy, you really believe that's everything. But it's really nothing. So once I left it, now I'm in Canada, I'm looking back on it. I'm like, wow, we hardly speak English. The way we act is crazy. And this idea of blackness that I thought I had some grasp of, it's not it. It's really not it. So that was my first couple years in Canada. It was just unlearning everything I thought I knew about being black and finding the balance and falling in love with what it meant to be African again. It was really, really self-realization. And once again, I owe that to the perspective living in Canada allowed me to have. It's a different perspective that I never would have had if I did not come here and meet the people I met and go through what I went through. I really had to leave an environment to see how so a part of it I was, how so defined by that environment I was. And it was crazy to see, right? Because, I never thought I was the hoodest dude. I never thought I was the baddest kid. I never thought I could beat everybody up. I was never like that. But you come to Canada and suddenly I'm all these things. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, and it wasn't because I tried super, super hard to be these things, but it's just because that small amount of hoodness or badness or whatever I had, that small amount, compared to the people I was around, it was like a mountain. The size of it was like a mountain. Because I had moved to Canada, being a proper nigga from the DMV, from Maryland, who's seen all this hood shit, who's seen a couple crazy things, who's done a couple crazy things, because I was just that. In Canada, it was magnified, and I got to really see it. I got to really see what I thought was myself. I got to really see it. And that's that privilege of perspective. So here I am rambling on this episode again, and it already looks quite long because I didn't want to make a part 3, so I didn't go as in crazy depth. But I don't know, just to summarize what it means to be black, to me anyway, it's such a fluid thing. And I say that because even black people, even we don't know what it means to be black in its totality. Because every day we're still figuring it out. Every day there's still new experiences we go through personally, publicly, privately, new experiences that happen to the diaspora as a whole, communities as a whole, just so many new things that reshape us and what our blackness means to us on the individual level. It's so crazy because I still can't definitively say what it means to be black. I know what my experiences have culminated in. I know I think I know now, right? I think I kind of have more of a grasp on it, but you're never really sure. You're never really sure. Because I love my blackness now. I love the African in me now. I love all of that, but I didn't always love it. I wanted to be Black American more than I wanted to be Black African. I wanted to be a certain type of Black, but reject other certain types of Black. And that's so wrong, but that's how so many of us are. We've just subtracted and added parts of ourselves that we believe make us more or less Black for whatever reason. So I guess I'm just here to say that you should really be as Black as you can be. Whatever that means to you, just rock it, man. Just rock it. Because all I can hope for is that while you're maximizing your Blackness, you gain perspective. Because that perspective is what helps you grow. And that perspective is what helps you realize who you really are, who you really want to be, and how you fit in this world. So maybe for Black people it's such a dynamic thing we'll never really know, but that's just how I feel. Hopefully that made sense to the people who listened. So once again, thank you for listening, and God bless.